This podcast is brought to you by United Way of Cast Clay. United Way of Cast Clay strives to create a vibrant, welcoming community where everyone can thrive. Get involved at unitedwaycastclay.org.
You're listening to The Vault, a Forum Communications podcast covering true crime and general intrigue in the Upper Midwest. I'm Trisha Turinskis. My original story on Nopeming can be found at inforum.com. Just look for the Vault section. The building that once housed the Nopeming Sanatorium is now considered a mecca for those fascinated with paranormal activity. Yet the history of the building itself may be just as terrifying as any ghost story. The building initially served as an answer to the nation's tuberculosis crisis. Built deep within a wooded area on the outskirts of Duluth, the topography of the area was thought to be optimal for housing and hiding away patients who had contracted tuberculosis. Nopeming opened its doors in May 1912, providing 50 initial beds to tuberculosis patients. Minnesota and surrounding areas were desperately seeking care and confinement related to the highly contagious and deadly disease. Among one of the 13 sanatoriums in the state, Nopeming eventually housed up to 300 patients at a time. The grounds included quarters for those who worked at the sanatorium, along with special housing for children suffering from the disease. As medications for tuberculosis became available, the need for the sanatorium waned. While the transition to a nursing home began in the 1950s, by 1971 it officially became a St. Louis County nursing home, known as Nopeming Nursing Home. By 2002, the county made the decision to close the facility, ending another chapter of Nopeming's history. Just a few years later, a new chapter began when the building was purchased by Frank Vennes Jr, a Twin Cities businessman now serving prison time for his involvement in Tom Petter's Ponzi scheme. The building is now in the hands of Orison Incorporated, which initially ran tours to raise funds to upgrade the building. However, all tours were shut down due to various fire code violations. In the early 1900s, tuberculosis sanatoriums began opening up throughout the country, providing a place for those infected to seek respite and escape the possibility of infecting loved ones. Minnesota was home to what were considered top-of-the-line treatment facilities. At the same time, educational campaigns were being launched throughout the nation, informing people of the dangers of tuberculosis, particularly as it related to the transmission of the disease. Sanatoriums relied heavily on a combination of fresh air, healthy food, and plenty of rest. By 1904, more than 100 sanatoriums had been built across the country. By 1953, that number was close to 839. That's according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Nopeming Sanatorium was built in 1912, in the midst of rapid treatment growth. Its facilities housed 50 patients at first, ramping up to 300 to fulfill area needs. In addition to housing for those who worked at Nopeming, it is alleged that the boiler room, located in the main patient building, was used to burn the bodies of those who succumbed to tuberculosis. As we mentioned, the need for sanatoriums waned in the 1950s, when medical interventions allowed tuberculosis patients to be treated safely at home. The once majestic building, which included 212 nursing home patient rooms when it closed in 2002, included roughly 40 acres of manicured and wooded grounds. I went there quite a bit as a child, and it was beautiful. Nopeming lived up to its name, translated roughly to "in the woods" in the Ojibwe language. From Interstate 35, all that is visible of the building in the summer months is a large chimney, spanning upwards beyond the tree line. While now fenced off and laden with no trespassing signs, its long driveway was once a passageway into another world of sorts, one filled with tremendous history and haunted stories whispered among workers. Those are the stories that inspire so many people fascinated with the paranormal to make the drive from throughout the region. That activity became more pronounced after Nopeming was featured on the Travel Channel's Ghost Adventure Show in 2015. While Orison Incorporated did run official tours at the site, all activity halted in 2019 when issues related to the safety of such tours were brought up to the Minnesota State Fire Marshal's Residential Care and Lodging Team. After receiving the complaint, Nopeming and Orison Incorporated was shut down due to violations related to a lack of power and sprinkler systems. It also cited structural damage, exposed electrical wiring, and a lack of emergency lights, among other violations. Frank Vennes Jr. purchased Nopeming in 2005 for roughly $1 million, with alleged plans to gift the building to Teen Challenge, a Christian recovery program. Teen Challenge denied the offer, claiming it wouldn't be able to shoulder the costs needed to convert the facility to its needs. Vennes then went on to offer the building to another Christian charity. In 2007, he gave the building to the Fidelis Foundation. According to a 2006 story in the Duluth News-Tribune, St. Louis County records showed that the Fidelis Foundation owned 40 acres and a property in Midway Township, valued at roughly $280,000. Vennes later landed in prison in 2013 on a 15-year sentence related to fraudulently raising money from individuals and through hedge funds for investment in Pedders Company Incorporated, according to the U.S. Attorney's Office. While closed to the public, the property is still considered to be owned by Orison Incorporated. Unlock more cold cases and crimes from the past at inforum.news/try. Get your first 3 months of unlimited access to our entire news network for only 99 cents a month. Visit inforum.news/try to take advantage of this deal. Forum Communications is proud to be part of the Trust Project. Learn more at thetrustproject.org.